So this image of Dale Staples was taken at a secret spot near Cape Town, and the day before I missioned with Geordie Marie to the same spot, and it was like a 6.5 meter swell, and it was really out of control and big. Geordie Marie even went out and got like a couple in the head and got washed in, and that day we actually surfed a different wave that also doesn't break often. And basically I went home and the swell forecast looked really good for the next day, and I was umming and ahhing where to go, and Geordie Marie phoned me and he was like, "Oh, brother, I think that spot's going to be on again." So I was like, "Okay, cool, well, I'll meet you in the morning." And I almost missed my lift in the morning, and I raced through to Geordie's house. We got in his car and we raced through there, and it was only Geordie and two other guys out, and yeah, the conditions were really good. The tide was really low. The spot needs a low tide, but it was almost too low with the mixed up swell from the huge day before. And yeah, we paddled out, and it was the first time I'd been there. I swam out. It was quite a long swim. Think about how this happened actually. So how it ended up being this shot, it was really slabby and everyone was kind of sitting a bit shoulderish, and I was going like, "Guys, I'm sure you should go deeper. I'm sure there's an in behind this peak." And everyone was a bit umming and ahhing because there were some wash through sets that were coming through. It was pretty big. And Dale took a wave, or Dale paddled out, and I was like, "Yeah, Dale, like, you know, he's going to charge this place crazy." And basically what happened was I told Dale, I was like, "Dale, like, bro, I'm sure you can get in deeper on this wave." And he was like, "Yeah, I think I can." So he sat way up the line, and everyone kind of was like unsure, the rest of the crowd. And Dale called one bomb and didn't make it. And everyone was like, "Oh, that was an amazing wave." And they all kind of sat where Dale was. So Dale set the tone for that session. And then this thing came through, and I actually couldn't see him where I was because I was quite far down the line. And I went over the first wave with my housing, and I was shooting 50 mil. So my positioning had to be kind of tight but pulled back. And he was like kind of in this whitewater section, and he was like starting to pump through it, and then suddenly this thing just opened up and he looked like he was way too deep. And I was kind of backpedaling with my housing all the time, trying to get not too tight, because a 50 mil, if you're too tight, it doesn't look like anything. If you're too far away, it actually loses feeling. And as I was shooting away in the barrel, I knew I was in there with him, which for 50 mil is pretty hard, and it's really good if you can get it. And he came flying past me, and the wave pretty much compressed, and the shock wave bounced, and he rode over the first shock wave, and then he kept going through it. And I pushed through the back. You can see this is the second last frame. You can see the shock wave there. I mean, the power that it landed with was heavy, and I was about to start dipping through the back, and I popped out the back, and I looked at my housing, and I realized that it was number one sharp, which is your first goal swimming with 50, because it can be really tricky, and the framing was good on the last frame. And I was like, "Oh, the shots before must be really good if this one was this good." And I said to Dale, I was like, "Dale, I think we got a really good shot." And he was like, Dale, he was like, "Oh, that's cool, let's get some more." He was all psyched out. And this actually is the same day that I got the cover with Geordie Marie, I think 2 issues ago. The sun came out, and it was a really epic day. And yeah, this is probably one of my best 50 mil shots I've ever got, just because of the framing and the expression, and the clarity is just amazing.
I wonder what duck you would have to say about it.
Dale has mentioned to me it's one of his favorite shots of himself. You can't see it here, but up close, I mean, you guys at ZAG and actually the publishers, and they all said there's a feeling on the photo, there's a texture that's so sharp but oily at the same time. And yeah, that's why it makes one of the best photos I've taken.